This is now recording, so as I mentioned, I'm going to put this here so that I capture this clearly, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, as I mentioned to you via text message and at our lunch meeting or gathering that we had at this past Saturday at the University Draft House, the purpose of this is to better understand American conservatives, especially American conservatives of Hispanic and Latino backgrounds. I think that there's often misinformation going on about this particular population, and often they're also neglected, misunderstood. And so I think that this is an important project to be able to understand your opinions and experiences. So let me just pull up the questions and everything first. Any questions before we commence?
No.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to know a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised? Your family as well. Where were they born and raised?
I was born and raised in Edinburgh. Well, mostly Brownsville, but Edinburgh as well. My father's from Edinburgh and my mother's from Brownsville. My father's full Hispanic. My mother's mixed.
Okay.
That's about it, unless you want me to go into their political leanings.
We can definitely get into that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you said that your mother is mixed. What is exactly her background?
Her mother was born in Matamoros.
Okay.
But she grew up in Brownsville working as a maid. She was a maid. Actually, she was the cook for the bank president. And her father is from Missouri. He's German heritage, but he was a carpenter and he worked at the port, and so they met and had 10 kids.
So they met in Brownsville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so and he's Anglo-Saxon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So what generation would you consider yourself? And I'm referring to the generation of American.
Second generation. Yes, it would be second generation. My parents are both born here, but their parents were born in Mexico.
I think it's a little bit complicated.
Yeah, it's a little complicated because
my your grandfather
is yes.
It's from Missouri and from German heritage. Okay, makes sense. And can you start telling me a little bit about what your parents did or your mother did? Growing up. Can you tell me a little bit more about?
My mother was a model. She started working when she was 12, but she had to help raise her siblings. She's the fifth of 10. My grandfather was an alcoholic, so he was not very good at supporting the family. But then my father, he was a son of a ranch owner, so he had a little bit more money. Not super wealthy, he was just well off.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And let's see, we already got that one. So growing up, what language did you grow up speaking?
I grew up speaking English. My parents predominantly spoke Spanish, but they had us speaking English because of the culture.
Okay. Was it because of the experience that maybe they had?
Yes.
And can you tell me a little bit about that experience that they might have had?
Well, they had a negative experience because of the mentality of back in their era. My dad was born 1918, my mother 1929. So they experienced I would call it racism, the bigotry. So they didn't want that for us, myself and my siblings. So they insisted that we only spoke English, even though they only spoke Spanish.
So it was in a way to protect.
Yes.
So were they disciplined at school, like hitting with rulers or anything like that?
They were never physically abused. They saw more of how they would be overlooked, passed on, and they didn't want that for us.
Okay, and they were passed on and
like if they were achieving right. Mostly my father, not so much my mother, because my mother had an Anglo last name.
Okay. Oh, and that did definitely help her to a degree.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. So, did you grow up attending any type of church when you...
Church, yes. I attended church.
Can you tell me more about that?
It was just typical Catholic upbringing.
Catholic. Okay, and do you still abide by some of those Catholic values that you learned
Yes,
from church?
they're my foundation, but I stray.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. It's totally okay. When it comes to your political decisions, do you influence them in
No.
any sort of way? No.
No.
Okay. So when it comes to like issues like abortion, gay marriage, those types of issues, what is your position on that?
I'm more of a fiscal conservative, but a social liberal.
Makes sense. Okay. So it's basically live and let live.
Right.
Okay. Makes sense. So you told me a little bit about this, but where do you currently live, and what do you do for a living at the moment?
I work in education, and I live in McAllen.
Okay. Can you tell me more about what you do on your day-to-day for education?
Well, I work in the special education field. I'm an administrator. There's not much more to say.
So how do you like this type of job that you do?
No, I love it. Absolutely love it.
And for how long have you been doing this?
This is my 36th year.
36 years. You've devoted your life to this. That's beautiful. Okay. So you mentioned that you grew up here and you currently work here in the Rio Grande Valley and continue to work here. How would you describe the RGV to somebody who's not from here?
Wow.
Good and bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up here, but upon graduation, I went to the military, so I was able to see things differently because I had never left the valley until I left for the military. The furthest I went, was between Edinburgh and the island. That was it. So my eyes were open to a different world. I came back completely different. My friends didn't even like me because I had changed so much.
Really?
Yes. But that happens because some people down here are very sequestered, unfortunately. But when I would describe the valley, nobody believed me because they think the world ends at San Antonio.
I get that. I always get that. That's definitely true. You tell them South Texas, they're like, San Antonio? Austin? No. 5 hours
and then it gets worse, especially when I was in the military, because I would say, well, I'm Mexican, and then I would meet a Californian. We're about as different as you can get. There's nothing Mexican about a Californian. But then I would see the Puerto Ricans that I was stationed with, and they consider themselves Hispanic, and I'm like, you're New Yorker. And then the Cubans from Florida. So when you see that diversity, explaining the valley to somebody, because the valley is a different world, and I like it. That's why I'm here. I mean, I came back home. I feel safe here. Other people don't think we're safe because of the border. We're very safe. I mean, you literally see it. It's right there.
It's like a 3-minute drive.
Yeah, you can crawl.
Yeah.
That's how close it is. So I feel very safe here. But the image that we are given is bad because they think of the cartel. They're there.
Yeah. I get that. You brought up an interesting point about you changing because of your experiences while being in the military. Maybe leaving the Rio Grande Valley or the things that you might have gone through in the military. Can you tell me more about that? Some of these things that you experienced, some of these things that might have influenced you to change in a way that.
Well, the way I changed was that we're very catered, or not maybe catered. We're very sheltered. We live in a bubble. The Hispanic culture is very possessive. They don't like their kids growing up and moving away. And so I think we're a little bit too sheltered down here, so that when we leave home, we get this little insecure feeling. Now, having left home and being away from home with no support, especially back then, because we didn't have cell phones back then, we didn't have computers back then. So when I left, I left. Unless I made a collect call home, I didn't have any connection. So I had to learn how to fend for myself, and so I gained a strength. And so that was so different from my friends, because they were still very meek, and I was very brave because I left. And so they just didn't recognize me anymore. So I just made new friends.
So it was intimidating to them.
It was.
That new person that you took on. So what were some of the places that you got to see or travel to because of the
military? Well, I was stationed overseas. I was in Europe.
Oh, okay.
So that's an even.
How was that experience? How did you, get treated there? Maybe by your.
Well, they didn't like
colleagues?
Americans.
Oh, really?
But, there's power in numbers. We never traveled alone.
But there was negative experiences that you might have encountered. Can you tell me about some of them that you might remember that you heard of other people?
Oh, well, they just they try to scare you.
Really?
They'll try, try to scare you, and we're like, get away from me. But, you just stand your ground and it would be alone. It's not like it is now. I was there in the 80s. Oh. Now it's a little bit more dangerous.
Really?
Yeah. Well, but they used to like to intimidate. Now they actually do stuff.
Okay. What countries were these?
I was in Germany. Visited Germany, England.
Anybody has a room? Can you do one of those rooms over there? I left my...
It would actually only be Delia, and she walked that way. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
You're selling cupcakes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll catch you in a little bit, okay? Okay. I'll find you down the hall.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the other question that I have for you is, what branch was it?
Military. Army.
The Army.
Yeah.
Okay. So did when it came to your colleagues or some of your brothers and sisters in the military, was there any sort of hostility between groups or anything like that you noticed?
Not really. We had our own cliques, but when you're in your uniform, you're one. Mm-hmm. When you're in your civvies, you kind of go back into your. But it's no different than when you're in school.
In school.
Yeah, or at work. You have friends that you feel comfortable with, and you gravitate towards that. We never had any hostilities towards each other. But like I said, when you're in your uniform, you're willing to die for them.
Yes. So with these cliques, were they divided by like race or ethnicity, or what was it?
They were just mixed. It was more like I like the way you party, and I don't like the way you party.
You're too loud.
Yeah, you like. I was in the heavy metal kind of musical kind of leanings, but we were genuinely all from different states, different colors. Like I said, the Puerto Rican, the Samoans, I even had one that was from, what was it, Trinidad and Tobago. So it was kind of, we were all mixed. We didn't care. Yeah. It was more like we liked, we had similar beliefs.
Yeah, similar tastes.
Yeah, more so tastes. We never got political. We never got racial. And again, that was in the 80s. I don't know what's going on now.
Yeah. I got that. Mm-hmm. Something that you also mentioned is the differences between the California Mexican and the Texas Mexican.
Yeah, we didn't like each other.
And really?
No.
And why is that? Can you tell me? Because I think it persists.
It does.
Today.
It does. The California Mexicans are more white. I'm not gonna lie. They think they're Mexican. They're not. Because they would put sour cream on their stuff. I was like, we don't do that. And then the Puerto Ricans tend to, gravitate in the New York area, and New Yorkers are just a different breed. But we would kind of like snicker at each other.
Oh.
Like stop calling yourself a Latino or stuff like that. Because they like being called Latinos, we like being called Mexican.
Oh.
So and then if you call somebody a beaner, you're in trouble. That's bad. So yeah, we just agree to disagree.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it was a battle between who was more Latino.
Yeah.
Who was more Mexican?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we used to say, when have you ever been to Mexico? I live on the border. It was just like, it was kind of, it was just banter. Yeah. It wasn't real.
Makes sense. So, did you ever? Because you mentioned that a really bad word would be beaner.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Nobody ever called you that in the military?
They tried.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. That was like, stop.
Was it another Mexican or?
No, the Californian.
A Mexican Californian? Really?
Yeah, they tried. It was more banter. Yeah. But we always said, hey, that's a line. Stop.
Mm-hmm. And that was a good way to stop that then. Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. So to proceed with the questionnaire, do you currently live with a spouse, children, or anything like that?
No, my child's in college and I'm divorced. Mm-hmm.
Okay, grown. Okay, makes sense. Okay, and so when it comes to the way that you describe your identity on a daily basis, what label do you typically use?
Well, I kind of typically use what my grandmother on my mother's side of the family and my father, we always insisted on being called American.
Okay.
Like my grandmother that was from Matamoros, she did not like being called Mexican. She was born in 1900. She said, no, I left there. And then like my father, his mother was from Mercedes, but Mexico. And then his father was from Monterrey. And he was a World War II vet. He did not like being called Mexican.
I didn't understand him.
Yeah.
He gave his life to his country.
He said, I am an American.
Yeah.
He never liked being called Mexican.
Okay. Do you have a sense as to, you started explaining a little bit about why, but do you have a further sense of why they didn't like being called Mexican?
Well, my grandma always just said, I left there. I left there here for a reason, and she left it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was illiterate. She did not read.
Oh.
But she was very smart, but didn't read. And then my father and all his brothers, I mean, they were Americans. They all served in the military.
Mm. Okay.
So I was just raised that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you know if there was, if the negative experiences with, I don't know, some sort of like racial bias could have influenced that as well?
It's possible. My father grew up with money, not wealthy. He was well off. But he was always passed over. But he kind of was very submissive to it, and it would make my mother angry, and my brother as well. They didn't like that he didn't fight. He always says, what's worth fighting? But my dad was very passive.
Very passive.
Yeah, he's just like, it's fine. And they were like, no. Because my mother had to work for everything. She grew up very poor. So she did not like that. But then again, my mother was half. She never experienced the ugliness. So
that he might have experienced because of his background.
You're right.
Makes a lot of sense. So, given that you've been influenced in the way that you identify being American, what does it mean to you to be an American?
Everything. Everything. I've seen the other side. There's no better country than this one.
Makes sense.
Nothing. That's why you got to protect it. And that's why I'm out there on those trains. Got to protect it.
Do you feel that what we know as America, as the U.S., is under threat?
I think so.
Yeah. What do you think is some of the biggest targets or the biggest threats to this country?
That I don't know. I don't know what's going on, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to understand because I don't understand what's going on.
It's a lot.
It is. I know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
Okay. That makes sense. And when it comes to things like the large patterns of immigrants, immigrants that are coming in, drugs and stuff like that, is that something that you feel as a threat?
I don't mind immigration.
Okay.
I don't mind that. I do mind that they're using that to allow the drugs to come in, and that's why I see that. I see that as a means to their end, because I believe, have no proof. I believe that the drug cartel is using the immigration to allow them to pass.
Yeah.
They're the carriers.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with immigrants. I mean, we're no big deal.
Yeah.
But the drug trade bothers me.
Yeah. And this is something that is recent, like that started in the early 2000s, where they started taking over the patterns of immigration. And you're right, that they treat them as mules.
Yeah.
And they have no choice.
Right.
So I understand that. So are there any, I guess, characteristics or any factors that would disqualify, in your eyes, somebody from being considered an American? No? Okay. So let's see. Has anyone ever treated you differently because of your race or ethnic background, that being in your past or anything like that?
No, I never experienced.
Never experienced it. And do you think that this is something that, because there's a claim or the argument that
If I did experience, I didn't notice. I'll put it that way.
makes sense. It just,
It was
wasn't
like
important.
fun.
It wasn't important.
It wasn't important. No.
Okay. do you think that this is something that maybe other racial and ethnic minorities might continue to face in this country? That
I really don't see it the way it's publicized. I don't see it. I think it's used to control. I've never really. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I don't think it's as prevalent as the media like to present. Because even like with the gays in the military, my roommate was gay.
Yeah.
It didn't bother anybody until Clinton said something about it. It's always been there, and now they're trying to make more out of it. I know a lot of gays that were in the military in the 80s. Nobody cared. As long as you're carrying that weapon and you cover my back, I don't care what you wear. Who cares? But sometimes people use those things to to get their message across or their control.
Their agenda.
Yeah, their agenda.
Okay.
And that's the same thing with the racism and all that stuff. I don't see it. It's kind of like when, right now there's a hurricane. We've had hurricanes here.
Yeah.
The media always shows that one street that's flooding, but never just show the other ones where we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Because one time there was a hurricane. This was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were showing the hurricane on the news. In my town, it was actually in Harlingen because I was working in San Benito. I was at Luby's watching them saying we're underwater and we're like looking at each other. I was like, what? Because this hurricane hit the sparsely populated area of South Texas and we're like, we're here at Luby's.
Oh.
But the rest of the world thought we were underwater.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see some of this stuff.
I get that.
Yeah.
So to reiterate and make sure that I'm understanding you correctly, it's an over-exaggeration to push certain agendas and certain
ideas.
And
control you.
Okay.
To thinking that person is bad or that group is bad or fear that group.
Yeah.
We're over here walking hand in hand.
Okay. And who do you think is responsible? Is it a party? Is it just the media? Or
I just think it's people that are trying to gain control. I'm not saying it's Soros. I'm not saying it's Pelosi. I'm not saying. I think that's also a lot of it. All I'm saying is because like saying that like all the Trumpers are evil. We're not, but that's yeah. Or all of the liberals or I can't think of something, but it's not what it is because I can talk to people that are of liberal minds and we're friends.
Yeah.
But the media has us fighting each other.
Yeah.
And all I'm trying to do is protect my country, the future for my child.
So you think then
Because I don't know what their agenda is.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. So then, this is what is happening then is that there are a very few that are very extreme and that are very loud.
Yes,
and
those are the extremes. Right, those are the ones that are being heard.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like with like with Trump, say for example, all this QAnon.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. We still have those discussions like, oh, please, guys. I mean, are you that gullible? Because they used to say, oh, but Q just said. If you heard what Q said, don't you think they heard what Q said? How can you be believing this? Are you that stupid?
Yeah.
But then you also have the Bible pushers.
Yeah.
God doesn't get in politics
Yeah.
any more than he gets in sports. He gave us free will. Shut up.
Yeah.
Those are those two loud voices on the Republican side that annoy the hell out of me.
Yeah. Do you encounter individuals like that here in like the Trump trainings or the Republican Party?
And I tell them to stop. I tell them to be quiet. I said, you're embarrassing us.
And they are very loud.
Yeah.
And they are very loud, and they're on both sides of the political
And they are.
spectrum.
They are.
That makes sense. That's very, very insightful. So when it comes to your racial or ethnic background or your heritage and this kind, does that mean anything to you? And if so, what is it? What does it mean?
Like what? I'm sorry.
So like being Latino or Latina?
I'm just human.
American. Okay. So that makes sense. Are there any other identities that are of importance to you?
No, I'm kind of like my parents. My parents were not biased in any way, shape, or form. My mom said she loved everybody except stupid people. She said, I hate stupid people. No. It makes sense to her because she had to work. So if you're stupid, get out of my way. I don't care what color you are, race you are, religion you are. If you're willing to work, you're my friend. And then my dad just loved everybody. So I was not raised to be biased.
Yeah, makes sense. So you had a very distinct set of parents.
Mhm.
One was more, easygoing, and your mom.
Oh,
was,
my dad would give you the shirt off his back, and my mom said they need to work for that shirt.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now we can get into. I wanted to ask you about your parents' political backgrounds.
Mhm.
If it's possible to know that. Like,
Mhm.
what were their opinions? What party did they typically support? If they supported
Democrats.
any? Okay.
They were told they were Democrats, but nothing came out of their mouths that was Democrat. So we were raised believing we were Democrats. And even when you heard my grandparents, they believed they were Democrats. They didn't spout any Democratic policies. But then again, that was a different party back then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think today Kennedy would be a Republican. But it was until my brother, when we got into an argument once, he goes, "Nothing you're saying is Democrat. Everything you're saying is a Republican." It's kind of, no. It was kind of strange like that.
Yeah. Okay. And so you told me that you also grew up, with this partisan affiliation with the Democratic Party to a degree. So did you ever vote Democrat in the past? And if so, which?
Actually, no.
Never.
I've never. My first vote for president. What was his name? What was his? Ross Perot.
What election was this?
Because I didn't vote when I was in the military. When Ross Perot wasn't it Clinton? I think it was Clinton's first.
Was he a Democrat or?
He was independent.
Oh, independent.
No, you know what? First I voted for Jesse Jackson.
Okay.
Because he was independent, and then I think the next election was Ross Perot, and then it's been Republican ever since.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall who was your first Republican vote or preference?
That's too long ago.
Okay. And when it came
Might
to
have been Bush.
Bush, okay, there was a lot of.
I was very rebellious back then.
I mean, and even he was one of the presidents that garnered the biggest, to this day, the biggest amount of Americans of Latino and Hispanic descent in the presidency. So that makes sense. So when it came to your parents, did they ever vote Republican or had they vote?
No, they voted straight. They would do the straight ticket.
And
That was back when it was in the box and you just pulled the lever and it was straight.
Yep.
That's what they did.
I think they got rid of that in 2020, I believe.
I think so.
Barely.
Okay.
So I do already know this question that I'm going to ask you, but I have to ask you to have it on the record. So when it comes to the two parties here in the U.S., or even including the Independent Party, which party do you typically affiliate yourself with?
Conservative.
Okay. So
I'm thinking of just going independent though.
independent, and why is that?
Because it's getting too fractured. It's getting too fractured because even the Republicans party is split, and it's annoying me.
I see that. Do you think that it's like it's split in the sense that you have your extremists and you have your moderates, people who are, and do you see
More
that?
like rhinos.
Okay, who would be considered the rhinos? Extremists or the more?
You tell me. Like McConnell's a rhino. They're really showing their colors right now.
Yeah, and why is that? What makes you say this?
I think they're trying to hold on to power. And that's the one thing about the Republicans. They've never been able to be united. The Democrats they'll die together.
Yeah.
The Republicans won't. And they never have been a unified party.
Yeah.
But it looks like within themselves they're becoming too fractured.
Oh.
Because even like your Matt Gaetz or your Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a little too extreme for me. And Matt Gaetz is a little too extreme in a different direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have your Rand Paul, who's in another direction. So it's kind of, which way do you go?
Okay. And why do you think that? What do you think is threatening them? Why? What is it that?
I don't know. I think it all comes down to power.
Okay. And do you think they're threatened by the possibility that Trump can come back into office, or what is it that?
I have no idea. I can't figure it out.
Okay.
I cannot figure it out.
Okay. Makes sense. you believe that others see you or treat you differently because you identify as conservative?
Only strangers when if they see me wearing. I don't tend to wear like Trump stuff. I don't tend to wear that. I wear if you see me on the train, I'm either got like a freedom shirt on or an army shirt on. And the reason I don't wear that is because I always have my daughter with me. She's in college now, and I didn't. Sometimes we get attacked, so I don't want to do that. But anybody that wears a flag or military stuff, they kind of suspect you're in that direction. You won't see a liberal wearing a flag. So that's why if you see me out there, you're going to see me wearing a military or American stuff.
Yeah. Makes sense. And so you mentioned that you've been attacked for wearing certain things. Can you tell me about those incidents? They
like to come up to your face. Kind of like what happened Saturday, with that stupid Mercedes car. That.
You got karma right away.
That's so funny. It's that. They get really brave, but they're cowardly.
Yeah.
When I was in Brownsville, one guy stopped in front of me, and I'm stupid. I'm 60 years old, and there I go, like, what am I going to do to this 30-year-old man that's 2 times my size? But they get real brave, but then when you get confronted, they take off. Well, I'm afraid one day I'm going to meet somebody that's not afraid, and I don't carry a weapon.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't wear it.
You want to diffuse everything and not put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any other incidents when this happens?
Usually they just come up to the car and they'll scream at you. On one of the trains, on one of the flagways, a car actually, because they're not trying to run you over, but they're flipping you off and they're not looking where they're going, and then the car goes over the curb.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like when we were talking about my idea of the float, the trailers. Yeah. The lady said, well, I'm afraid they'll throw something at us. I felt like saying, I kept my mouth shut. You have more to fear standing on that curb than on a moving vehicle. Because they've already come over the curb a couple of times. And they're not trying to run us over. They're flipping us off, and they're not looking where the car's going. Yeah. And, just a little move on a steering wheel is dangerous.
Yeah. I mean...
Just look what happened to the Mercedes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. That's very, very dangerous. So, as we know, most Americans with Latino and Hispanic backgrounds don't identify as Republican. Most of them are...
They don't
talking
vocally. They don't announce. They are.
Yeah.
They just don't tell you.
Okay. Okay. But when it comes to like the presidency, there's about 60 to 75% of the Americans of Latino and Hispanic backgrounds that vote Democrat. Why do you think this is the case if a lot of them have conservative values?
I think it's very similar to like my parents, that they truly believe that that's what they were because that's what they were told.
Yeah.
I don't think my parents ever took the time to study platforms. They just said you're a Democrat, and you're just like with the blacks, they're saying that as well. But they're starting to come out and they're starting to wake up, and that's scary. That should be scary to some people. But then you also have your closet conservatives, which is what happened with the first election, and that's why he won with such a shock. Because everybody was a closet conservative. And so, I'm not going to call them the secret majority, but now people are starting to voice. It's going to be interesting what happens in a year, because it's like a basketball game. Things can change in a second.
Real quick, and we saw that, like you said, in the 2016 election. I was already in grad school at that time, and that happened, and we were shocked.
I was shocked.
I was shocked, but at the same time, I was not, because I talked to people here. People have conservative values, and this gets me to my point of asking you, why do you think some people are, even to this day, closeted conservatives?
I think because it's not important to them yet. Until it's important to you, you're comfortable not knowing. And then when it starts to hit you, that's when you start asking questions. And no side is right, completely right. Both sides have things that are wrong with them.
Yeah.
But until it affects you, or you think it affects you, you're not going to ask questions. So we'll see. I mean, it's anything's possible. But the thing is that it's a year and a half away, and it can swing back and forth 100 times.
Yep. That's absolutely.
And then it just happens to be where that wheel stops.
Yeah. Well, we saw in 2020 between 40 to, I think it was like 48% across the 4 counties that comprise the Rio Grande Valley that almost went.
Mm-hmm.
They went for Trump. 40 to 48%. So we're seeing that here conservatives in the Rio Grande Valley are waking up, and so they're coming out of the closet.
They're starting to come out of the closet. I was shocked when I saw Stark County. That shocked the hell out of me. But see, they had bigger trains, but nobody talked about it.
Really? I didn't even know
Zapata
that.
had a huge train, but really nobody talked about it because they're so hidden. They're forgotten. Nobody talks about Stark County.
That's smaller.
It's smaller, yeah. And then it was just mostly our train, but our train pulled from the surrounding area. I don't know if Brownsville's ever good. It might not be in my lifetime. But they're the ones that are hardcore. Hardcore Democrats. That's going to be a tough nut to crack. But then again, the Republican Party today is what the Democratic Party was yesterday. So who knows where the trend is going?
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Because look at Robert Kennedy. He's very conservative in his discussion, and he's still running on the Democrat ticket.
Yeah.
So he's impressive. To me, he's impressive. He's probably gonna get killed like his dad, but who knows? So
highly educated man too.
Very, and he's brave.
Yeah.
He's brave.
He's a little too brave.
I know, that's what I said. He might get killed like his dad because he doesn't have the protection. I mean, he's a Kennedy, but I don't think he has much money as Trump. Right? He doesn't fly around his own plane. So, and then Trump has Secret Service. So unless the Secret Service turns on him, he's okay.
Yeah.
But it can go anyway. Because I'll be honest. Like if it were a Kennedy-Trump ticket, I don't know which direction they're going to go. I don't know which direction that lever's going to go.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because they're really he's more conservative.
He's very conservative.
Yeah.
So he might win over the independents or those never-Trumpers.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. Or some of the moderate Republicans that are had voted.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of the primaries, they're what is the term where it's protest voters.
Uh-huh.
So there's that game that goes on. No, that's a protest voter because they'll say I'm going to vote for this. Like it's a primary.
Yeah. And
you have candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. If you don't want candidate A to win, you vote for candidate C, even though you don't. It's those protest. They play games. They manipulate the primaries.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Okay.
It's just I really want to vote. How do I say it? It's kind of like even though I'm a Republican, I'm going to vote on the Democratic ticket to vote for the weak candidate so that they win, so that weak candidate goes up against this one. So in the general, so who knows what games people are playing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might have a bunch of Republicans voting for Robert just to make sure he's on the ticket against Trump. So you have those games. There's so many games that get played.
That is very interesting. I had not considered that. You're absolutely right about that.
Mm-hmm. And I heard about that during the last election. So, because they said, well, Trump is a wasted vote. He's going to win. He's already won, especially when it comes to Texas.
Yeah.
It's already decided by the time Texas votes. So we're going to go ahead and vote on the Democratic side to make sure that weak candidate gets picked.
Yeah.
And so...
Okay. That's actually very interesting.
And there's games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These tactics. So going back to the phenomenon here in the Rio Grande Valley, why do you think that? What is it that you believe woke up a lot of people to vote for for former President Donald Trump?
There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of anger from Obama.
Okay.
He created a lot of division. And I think that's what pissed off. And they kept trying to call us racist because I used to say I don't like the white side of Obama any more than I like the black side. It's not because he's black. But he created so much. Because we were starting to become so united as a country in our society, not politics. I mean, as our society, we were starting to get rid of that idea. And then when he came in, he just kept going after people and creating all this hostility. And then the social programs were just starting to, I think Clinton started that. It got a lot of people angry. And then we had Trump come in as I don't know what the word I'm looking for, as a way to say what we've all been thinking.
Yeah.
And I think that's what started waking people up. They started wanting to hide behind him. But then they saw the rocks being thrown at him. They started like, okay, I'm going to do this.
That makes sense. So you believe then it meant that.
And a lot of it with me happened with the Dallas shooting, with the police.
Oh.
That's when I started getting angry.
What is it exactly? His statements about it?
Because he it was that one, the Trayvon, when he goes, that could have been me, but he started throwing all of that race out. But then with the Dallas shooting, when they didn't even let the NFL players wear the patches, I said, no, stop. That's you're crossing the line.
Yeah. Okay, so the Obama administration was bringing up race.
He kept they bring race in everything.
Why do you think they do this?
Because nobody's going to counter it. Because if I say something about Trayvon, I'm racist.
Yeah.
Or if I say something about shooting a cop, I'm racist. I'm not racist. I'm trying to protect police. I get mad at police all the time every time I get a speeding ticket. But I still know they're necessary because if I need help, who am I going to call? Because anytime I get stopped by the speeding ticket, I look at them and I'm like, you have any idea how I've been defending you?
Come you break.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, makes sense. So,
but I can't say anything because then they call me racist.
Yeah. So is it maybe a strategy?
I think so. It's all they're controlling it.
Controlling some voters?
Anything.
Okay.
A narrative. Anything.
Okay. And then do you think that this is another factor then that contributes to what keeps, for example, here some Latinos continue voting for the Democratic Party, talking about race or?
Well, I don't know because I know a lot of Latinos that are pro-Trump.
Okay.
And I think it's because it's like my mom. My mom had to work to survive. Latinos have to work to survive.
Yeah.
All those people coming across have to work to survive. So they were actually saying that last week when you go on TikTok, the black people. We know where, you think you're bringing in all those immigrants to replace the black voters you're losing. They're conservative. I don't know too many liberals that are coming across.
No, yeah, absolutely.
The mules, yeah, but not the actual people that are coming legitimately.
Yeah.
They come here to work.
Yeah. And when it comes to the Republican Party, do you think, in your perspective, that they are welcoming to Americans of Latino and Hispanic backgrounds? Okay. And,
I think so.
Okay, can you tell me some of, some factors that make you believe this?
Because of the people that I see thinking are like-minded like me. Even when you look into a Trump crowd, you see a lot of difference. But when you look into a liberal crowd, you see a different one-sided group, and they all look alike. And I'm not going to voice what I'm not going to say it. You're going to have to figure it out. But especially if it's being recorded, because then it's going to get if anybody hears
it would
no.
never come back to you.
But if you look into a crowd of Trump supporters or any conservative group, even that stupid Mitch McConnell, well, nobody supports him. You're going to see a true rainbow. But when you look at those liberal people that are TikTokers or social media, they all look the same. That's your imagination.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Let's see. what about the Democratic Party? Are they welcoming to Latinos?
They're not.
independence?
Well, I think they're more welcome to anybody that's willing to spout their talking points. Yeah, if I were to walk over there and say she went that way, but I don't know where. If I were to walk into the DNC office, as long as I was willing to say what they want me to say, they would take me in. But if I express an opinion, I think I would be shown the door.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm understanding you. So that makes sense. So you feel like in the Republican Party, you can have different opinions, and they're not gonna cancel you. Then.
Well, no, I see it the other way. If I'm willing to say what they tell me to say, they will welcome me. But if I were to question them, they will show me the door.
Yeah. So I might have said the Democratic Party. I meant the Republican Party. The Republican Party, then you can have different.
You can have
opinions.
different. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, because they like to hear us talk. You know, when we have our little conversations, even with the train, I can assure you we're all seeing things differently, but we're also able to tell other people, shut up.
Yeah.
But I'll still have lunch with you.
Yeah.
But with the Democrat, as soon as I have an opinion,
Cancel.
Bye.
Cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And do you believe that that's something that has also pushed a lot of, especially here in the River Valley, a lot of individuals from here away from the Democratic
I think
Party?
so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. No, and your opinion definitely matters because you've grown up here. You've seen things change and stuff. So okay. So you mentioned that you consider yourself conservative, and I want to know more about some of the issues that make you a conservative.
Well, I'm more of a fiscal conservative because I don't care who you marry. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't believe in abortion. I think it's murder. But if you want to have an abortion, it's between you and God. But when it comes to the fiscal aspect, I'm very conservative because I really wasn't until I had a child, because I squandered money. But once I had a child, I saw the value. So that's when I saw the light. That was more when I saw the light. And I see how hard it takes to work for the money, and how it's easy to control because I have to pay my bills. So but when I see because like when the liberal gives out money, he doesn't give it to me. He gives it to somebody that's going to funnel it back to them. And it's very blatant.
Oh, okay. So you think they're like mouse spending taxes that come from
and that's what that pork crap that gets added to all those bills. That's all money that they're giving to their friends because they're going to give their money. That person's going to get that contract, and that money's going to get funneled around. I'm not getting any money from paving a street 15 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
And it's always the same street that gets paved.
Where
the other one has holes all over the place.
And they take a whole year to get it done. Okay, that makes sense. There's something that I was going to ask you about. So when it comes to particular, I guess, social welfare or social net programs such as food stamps and things like that, what's your perspective on this? Given that you are fiscally conservative.
Well, I don't mind helping a person in need, but nobody should be in need for 50 years.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes absolute sense. There's some individuals that have brought up the point that the Democratic Party gives handouts to youth individuals in that position. Like you said, some individuals are on these benefits or on these programs.
That's how they control them. Because they don't allow them to become self-sustaining. They want them to keep them on so that they need you because you need them. So that's a way of control.
And do you think that the Republican Party does, in a way, empower you through their policies, or?
I think that's. I'll put it this way: everybody's evil. Both sides are bad. I think if my choices, given my options, this side gives me a better option than that side.
Gotcha. I got you. Especially when, like you said, some of this money that is taken out of our pockets and stuff is given to politicians and not
Both sides.
your average American who needs.
I'll put it this way: everybody, every politician that is going to pave that street, like I said with the Democrats, that same street gets paved 20 times. At least with the Republicans, they spread it. That street's going to get paved. That street. With the Democrats, that street.
And that one only.
And that one only. That's why I have my better options.
Yeah, they don't try to hide it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that brings us to the question of when it comes to the issue of immigration. You know, this is an issue that's very divisive in our country today. So I'm going to ask you some questions about particular topics within this issue. The first thing is something that we have down the street, going on.
Mariposa?
I don't know what the name of the camp is, but the camp that we have.
Just down the block?
Yeah.
Mariposa.
It's called Mariposa?
Is it still Mariposa?
No.
Oh, what is it called now?
It's called Mariposa.
Well, it used to be called Mariposa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how long?
Well, we never know.
Okay. How long has it been there, by the way?
2 years? 3 years? 3 years.
Okay. What do you think about, the separation of children and all that's going on?
Well, we didn't start it. They
Yeah.
did it. The coyotes are the ones that separated the children.
Okay.
We're not the ones separating the children.
Yeah.
They're the cartel and the coyotes. They're the ones that are doing it. We are just the receptacle. And I think the media does a good job at saying that we're doing the separating. We didn't separate. They got across separated. We don't even know who brought them over.
Yeah.
And they're so young they can't voice. They can't tell us who their daddy is.
Yeah.
Or their mommy or whoever.
That makes sense. This is very interesting, and it resonates with some of the messages that I've heard from other participants that they know of Border Patrol agents that have found babies with like notes in their pockets and stuff. Like you said, their parents are not even with them.
We don't know who their parents are. So it's not that we're separating them. We are finding them separate from an individual. It's kind of like in the movie, and this is going to sound insane, kind of like that movie, the Titanic movie, the James Cameron version, when that guy wanted to get on the boat, the bad actor. What did he do? He took the little girl. That's what they do. And as soon as he got on the boat, he just let the little girl down because it was the little girl that got him on the rescue boat. That's what they do.
So
They just
peons.
they grab babies so that they can come across, but as soon as they get across, they go back. We're not separating them. But when,
Yeah.
but we get the blame.
Yeah, absolutely. So, White, this brings us to the next question. So, what do you think about the voting on the border wall that has been going on for years and years and years, but it was pinned on, our
Same
former
thing.
president.
It's the same thing. But I mean, at least it gives you because they have doors. At least when you build the wall, you can at least funnel the doorway instead of spreading it all out.
Yeah.
But the wall doesn't stop anything.
You don't think so?
It has doors all over the place.
Okay. so when it comes to considering the very, very high expenditure that goes into building the border wall and clearing land and sometimes purchasing land so that the individuals that were living there can be housed somewhere else and stuff. So the high expenditures, does that change your perspective at all on the wall?
No, because I see the wall as a way of controlling the chaos. When it's all open, all those people that own that land, they have the flooding of the people coming across. At least when you have the border wall, I know I have to be here, I have to be here, I have to be here. We're not stopping anybody from coming.
Yeah.
But at least it gives us a way to control what's coming so that we can process them, get them into the unit over here, and do whatever. I don't mind immigration.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Some people bring up the point that the building of the border wall is pushing some of these migrants to more difficult terrain that can lead to their death.
Whole terrain is death.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. I don't buy into that
Okay.
argument.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that is often brought up. So I just wanted to get your perspective on this. So what about what do you think should be done with immigrants who are brought here as children, and they're often referred to as dreamers, and one of these policies that was enacted by Obama during the executive order was the DACA, the deferred action of child arrivals. What do you think should be done with these children?
They don't bother me at all.
Okay. And so, should they be offered a path to citizenship?
If anybody should be offered a path. I don't mind. I would prefer you become a citizen.
Okay.
When you become a citizen, you become a taxpayer.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I know that you mentioned that you don't have a problem with immigration. I just do go through these questions just to have your clear perspective on this. So the last about immigration is what do you think should be done with the 11 million undocumented immigrants that are here in the U.S. today?
Get them documented.
Okay. Are there any criteria that you think should be?
No, like I said, immigration doesn't bother me. I think it's used as a means to control the narrative and to demonize certain people. But I mean, I work in a school system. I work with all these families. I mean, I wish they, back when I was younger, it was so easy to get a person in to become an American. I think they've made it so difficult. But I prefer that they do become American because I can get them help. But if they don't have the right papers, I can't get them to the doctor. I can't get their kid to attend a game, because they can't go past Furious. So, like like we have the School for the Blind that's in Austin. I can't get them there because they're not documented. So I would prefer we get them documented. But they're here working. So I have no problem with immigration. I just think that they're being used to demonize the Conservative Party. Because conservatives don't have an issue. We have an issue with the illegal acts because I think they're being used as slave labor. That's the way I see it. And you listen to Pelosi. Well, we need somebody to pick up the trash. We need somebody to work in our yard. Yeah, because you want to pay them under the table. And that's why you see those little groups. Even when I would visit my brother in Las Vegas, you see the Mexicans over here where people just drive up and I need somebody to work on my lawn here.
Day laborers.
Yeah, day laborers. To me, that's slave labor. That, I think you're the evil one.
Yeah.
Because you're too pinche to pay the company, the lawn service. Yeah. To me, that you're evil.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to pay these people through a company.
Yeah.
Instead of just going to a parking lot and go over here.
That's true. And sometimes these individuals, they hire them and then they don't pay them.
They don't pay them.
Threaten that they're going to get them deported.
Exactly.
Damn, that's actually.
I'd rather they get a job, and that's what I prefer than seeing these people being used because I hear those stories.
Yeah, it's very common, unfortunately. So why do you think? Well, first of all, let me backtrack. Who do you think is responsible for making it harder to become an American today?
I think the liberals, because they want to enslave people. They want, what is it, indentured servants or what? Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And they're not shy about it. They're saying it.
Yeah. And why do you think that this is an important thing to maintain as a difficult thing to achieve, like becoming an American? Why do you think that this is important?
And I don't think it's that hard. I think they brainwash these people into believing, oh, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you. You stay here. We're going to take care of you. They're never taken care of. I mean, we went to Canada this summer, and a friend of mine and I, and every Uber driver we talked to, we were in Toronto. They said, they're all immigrants. Most of them are from, Middle Eastern cultures, etc. And they all said the same thing. I've been here 10 years. One was from Nigeria, actually. He said, my wife and I, we came here, we've been here 10 years, and I'm no better off than the day I first got here. And I thought by now I would have something. And I said, you know what, you need to come to America. Come to America and you're gonna make a lot better than you are in Canada. And then this other girl, she was one of the tour guides. She was born of immigrants. And she said, I only make $12 Canadian, like $10 American. I only get $12 an hour, and I have to have 3 jobs. I said, come to America. If you're willing to work in America, you'll make a lot more money than you're making over here in Canada.
Absolutely.
I said, but my friend would say, but get a real job. Get a real job, not one of those day laborers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which requires them to go through the legal system.
Right. Go through the legal system, and you can become an American. America gives you so much, but you got to go through the path.
Okay.
But if you're listening to these buffoons that are keeping you in the hole, you're not going to.
In the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
If you will, in the shadows. Okay. And so then the Democratic Party benefits from keeping these individuals in the shadows and demonizing them, or using them to demonize, like you said, the Republican Party. Okay, that makes sense. So I must ask the question. So when it came to the Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton election, who did you vote for?
Trump.
Okay. And why?
It was so awesome. That's all I can say.
Okay.
It was so awesome because she thought she was going to win.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to win.
Yeah.
It was scary.
I think the world was surprised
Mm-hmm.
about that. So what pulled you into to support former President Trump?
In that election,
Mm-hmm.
I hated Hillary.
You hated Hillary.
His center.
Okay. And what were some of the things that made you feel this way towards Clinton?
She was just so self-righteous.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't like her.
You didn't like it?
I used to like her. I actually supported her against Obama. But then she changed, and I think she showed her true colors. I actually did vote for her in the primary.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And
for Obama, when she ran against Obama.
So you voted for her?
In the primary.
Okay, and then during that election, who did you vote for, Romney or Obama?
Romney.
Okay. Had she won, would you have voted for her?
Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. Let's see. So, like we talked a little bit about this already. So most Latinos did not support Trump in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at the statistics, it was between a quarter to a third that supported former President Trump, but the rest voted Democrat. Why do you think this was the case?
I think because they didn't have enough knowledge of him, and I think they were listening to the media. Nobody listens to the media anymore. Everybody's starting to do their own online.
Yeah.
Podcasts, Rumble, things like that. I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Most of my friends get their news from independents. I think that now that there's more information, because like they were saying, why isn't Trump at the debate?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We know him. We know him. We need to know what you are thinking.
Yeah. And he didn't even show up, and he still has like 46% of the.
Yeah, this morning on Newsmax they were touting some McLaughlin poll that said that he lost 5 points. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
He didn't lose 5 points.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Why do you think they're lying about this?
Because they're trying to control us, but I think they're seeing that they're not controlling us. We're not buying into it anymore.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say most. A lot of people get their information from TikTok. So we're not listening. Like that buffoon Frank Lutz. Who's listening to him anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, who listens to him?
Yeah.
They're getting more of their information from people because, like they're saying, all these people were watching him, on Tucker, and you go to his rallies. You hear what these little clips like Jake Tapper. I think CNN's starting to turn. Nobody. Do you actually think we're listening to you? We're mocking you. We watch you on TikTok being mocked at.
Yeah. So you mentioned that some of the times that worn some Trump gear, Trump swag, that you've gotten some looks, you've gotten some, comments that are not nice. Why do you think that these individuals are so adamant about reacting in such a way?
They're the extreme. They're the extreme. But I just, like I said, I just wear it that moment, and then I take it off my car and I go home. I'm just trying to be a voice, or not so much a voice. I'm showing that there's more of us out there. You can join us. You can stay in your hole. I don't care. But I'm going to express myself because I have to at least say I tried.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
But I'm not going to be out there to get spit at when I'm.
And I don't blame you. Yeah. I don't blame you.
Or if I go to a drive-through and they see me in a Trump, I don't want them spitting in my food.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What? Don't even open that box.
Yeah.
I get that. I feel you on that. So when it comes to 2020, the Biden versus former President Trump, who did you vote for and why?
During the 2020 election?
Yes.
Trump. And I knew he was going to.
Okay.
I knew it. They were too cocky. They had already controlled the voting boxes. When Pelosi said he already lost and he doesn't even know it, and she said that like 3 months before the election, I knew she was saying we already have it under control. I know. And you can call me a fool for saying the election was stolen. The election was stolen. But elections have been stolen for decades. You look at any local election, they're all stolen. They're politiqueras, and it's not just here, it's everywhere. Since Cain and Eve. It's just that the 2020 election was at a higher degree. All elections are stolen.
Yeah, makes sense. And so you bring up an interesting point on the stealing of elections, especially in a place like the Rio Grande Valley.
Well, it's everywhere.
Really?
I don't care if you're in Wyoming, in Oregon. All elections are stolen. The only thing is you don't know, one side knows that they're doing something with their politiqueras or their version of it, but you don't know what the other side is doing too.
Yeah.
So you don't know until election night who pulled out more nursing home votes. That's what I mean.
So what are politiqueras, by the way? I'm not...
How do you describe a politiquera?
Huh?
How do you describe a politiquera? Well, it could be a he. Politiquero. I don't know how to describe them.
How to describe them?
Yeah.
They're the ones that go and pick up voters that are able to drive on their own and count the votes. They pick up one the candidate. Politiqueros are assigned to candidates or paid by a candidate.
Yeah. They'll go to like nursing homes. They'll go to homeless people. Yeah.
They'll go out there and do the mail-in votes, also the registers for voting,
Okay.
and they'll assist them in filling it out.
Okay.
But see, everybody has them.
But
So every candidate has them.
Takes up their own voting.
And they're just called different things in different states. But that's what I mean. Everybody does it, but you don't know until election night who picked up more.
The most. So
You don't know.
So do they often give them something to return to?
Yeah, they'll give you a taco or like when I was a first-year teacher back, well, I wasn't a first-year teacher. I was a teacher back in the 80s. I remember that was when the voting booths were still in schools. I don't know if they still have voting booths in schools anymore, but back then they did. They had a cooler, and they would just give out breakfast tacos, and that was when breakfast tacos first came into play back in the 80s. And they would tell the seniors, pick up a taco and go vote, and here's my little flyer. But you don't know what lever they're going to pull.
Yeah.
But they've existed forever. Like that 2,000 Mules movie,
Yeah.
that's been around forever. It didn't come up.
Yeah.
That's been around forever.
Okay. And
There's no way to control it, though.
yeah. So what are some of the ways that the election was stolen in 2020? You think? Because this is a
It was
larger
just
scale.
it was just at a much higher scale. It's just too obvious. I'm not going to say how they did it. It's just too obvious. There's no way Joe Biden could have gotten that many votes at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But that's when they had to stop. And ever since they turned into electronic voting, they control that easy. Because
Yeah.
if you can't close a box and start counting ballots like we used to back in the 70s and 80s, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So it's whoever controls it.
Makes sense. And
But
so,
there's too many votes.
yeah, absolutely. And so when it came to the 2020 election, what were some of the factors? I know you mentioned that you're fiscally conservative. Was there something that former President Trump did achieve, or something that stood out to you for you to continue going?
Because if that many congressional people, or that many people of power hate somebody, I like it. Because he's a threat.
To your
That's why I like
establishment?
it.
And you think this hate came from just the Democratic Party or both sides?
Because he doesn't play their game.
From both sides.
He plays his own game. I'm not saying he's not playing a game.
Yeah.
He plays his own game, but if that many people hate him, I like it.
From both sides of the party spectrum. Okay.
Yeah, you have to have a balance,
Yeah.
and he's bringing that balance.
Okay.
He's not a good person. He's just anti them. We have to life has to have a balance.
Yeah.
And he's bringing a balance because they got too much control. So we need to start bringing it back. Because I don't know who's going to follow him. Who's going to come back? He can only serve one more term.
Yeah.
Whether it's this term or the next term,
Yeah.
he's gone.
Yeah.
Who's going to follow? It scares me more.
What is it scaring you?
Because who is that? Who's out there?
Oh, okay. Makes sense. So was there anything that you disliked about former President Trump?
I hated him before he was a candidate.
Oh, really?
I didn't like Trump.
Was there something that you didn't like him?
I didn't like his arrogance. But when he became a candidate, I loved him.
Because he was telling everybody how it is.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. So when it came to his economic policies, was there something that you liked about them, or his economic?
Because he was trying to give power back to the people, and it goes back to those paving of the streets.
Mm.
You know, I'm just going to say, Commissioner John Smith has his people, and they paved that street 50 times in 10 years. But with Trump, he was willing to give it to John Smith, Jack Daniels, and Jim Beam over here.
Yeah.
So he was able to spread it out so I could get my damn street paved.
Competition.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes a lot
Jim
of sense.
Beam and Jack Daniels.
So when it came to, he got a lot of slander for some of the statements that he made, which, they have some of them have been stated to be over-exaggerated, such as his statement about he said when Mexico sends its people, they're not sending them fast, they're sending people
That was a
have problems and this and that. That was what?
That was a misquote.
Misquote. Okay.
It's taken out of context.
Okay.
I argued with my brother about that a lot.
Really? And why did that argument? How did that argument?
Because he said he was calling me a rapist. I said he never called you a rapist. He said he sent me a rapist, and that's what happened in Cuba back in the 80s. Cuba emptied out their jails and sent all their criminals to us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was talking about. But people just took it out of context.
Yeah. Okay. So when hearing this statement, you don't think about this as an attack to himself, correct?
He's telling the truth.
Okay. So why do you think that a lot of people were so attacked by this?
Because they believe the media. They believe the media. Just like the media likes to say that he wants to date his daughter. He didn't say he wants to date his daughter. He said, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd date her. That's a big difference than the incest that they're trying to project.
That's still gross.
But it's not gross.
Yes, it is. Father didn't say that about my daughter.
She's not a Trumper.
I'm not a Trump.
That's okay. Okay, let's see. Then there was another statement about, I'm not sure if you heard about Judge Gonzalo Curiel. Okay, so Donald Trump was getting a lot of backlash from media anchors and stuff because this judge was was born in Indiana and was overseeing the fraud case against Trump University in San Diego. And so
I vaguely remember that one going.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Trump stated, "I think he should recuse himself. I'm building a wall. I'm trying to keep business out of Mexico. He's of Mexican heritage and he's proud of it." So
I remember that vaguely, but I don't remember enough of it to actually comment. But I do remember something to that nature. But he gets misquoted all the time, so I'm going to take this.
Makes sense. And some, including Republican leaders, responded to this comment by disavowing it because they claim that it carried racial undertones, implying that because Judge Gutierrez was of Mexican heritage, that made him automatically incapable of being unbiased and working. Do you agree or disagree with this comment?
Well, it's no different than when who was it? Wasn't it Biden that said that Obama spoke intelligently or something? He made a similar comment about his future president. I think it was Biden.
I'm not sure if it was him, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was a similar thing. It was taken on. I don't remember. I do remember that incident, but I don't remember the actual the manner in which it was projected.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. He was very articulate.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. And another comment that he also got a lot of slander for is that in the bipartisan meeting about immigration, Haiti, President Trump apparently complained about them, saying having all these people from several countries coming here, and said we should have more people from Norway. What do you think about this comment?
It's taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
Yeah, it's just taken out of context.
I just have to ask these.
No, it's fine.
I have to get people.
But I remember that.
Yeah. Let's see. So.
Norway shit.
So, what do you think about Democrats and liberals?
I think they're gullible.
Gullible to what?
They're not. They don't go out and investigate, because whenever I see something, people send me text messages all the time, and they take it as gospel, and I'm like, wait a minute, let me go ahead and Google it, and then I'll see what was actually said and the manner in which it was said, and then I make my own decision. These people take it as gospel.
Do you think that there are people like this also on the Republican side, or is it just?
No, they're on both sides because, in fact, at the train, Saturday we were talking about Monica, the two people sitting next to me that worked for her didn't even know she's been voting against Trump the entire time she's been in office. Not the entire time, but some of the time. The one that's sitting across from me still believes in QAnon. So yeah, there's on both sides.
Okay. Which one was it that believes on QAnon?
Gary's wife.
Oh, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So
that's when Gary was going like this. That was Debbie.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, they're on both sides.
That's very interesting that there's quite the division in the local conservative population, because some believe in QAnon, some more like, no, that's not true. And there's, like, you see it in the former Trump train in 2020. There was a break, and there was a group that was created by Gary. And then Gary told me that he parted ways because they're a little bit too extreme.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's very interesting, the dynamics and, the divisions that are ongoing.
See, that's what I mean when I said earlier. The Republicans will divide.
Yeah.
The Dems they'll die on that hill together.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, they'll die on it.
Okay. So.
And even Trump says that all the time.
Really?
He always says that. He says, we need to be able to unify the party, because the Dems, right or wrong, they will stick together, but the GOP, it's still factions. We're all factions.
Yeah, makes sense. Can you tell me about your involvement in, some of these organizations that you've been part of, such as the Trump Train? Your experience, how you got involved, what do you do?
Well, that's the only thing I'm involved with is the train. In the last election, I was at my cousin's house, business. He owns a gym, and it was the week after the 4th of July. He said, "Hey, did you see the Trump train?" I'm like, "What Trump train?" And he said, "Well, I heard all this honking, and because his business is right on 10th Street." And he said, there was a bunch of Trump flags, and they were driving. I go, "No way!" And I said, "No." I said, "Who was it?" He goes, "I don't know." And I said, "If it was anybody, it'd have to be the Hidalgo County, and America is on my Facebook." And I said, "If anybody knows about it, it would be America." And so then I went on her Facebook, and of course it was America. And so then I messaged her, and I said, if that was you, and if you're doing it again, I want to know about it. And then she says, message me your phone number. So I messaged her my phone number, and then a few days later, it was just a picture of the Lindbergh and 12th Street sign, Saturday at 9:30. That was all it said. That was all it said. I was so sad. I got there at half an hour early, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, was I taken? You know, is this for real? But I was also there really early. And then this white car drives in, and they parked, and then the car came up to me, and it just came up to my window, and rolled down the window. "Are you here for Trump?" And I go, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay, we're here." So and I was on every Saturday since then. I wasn't a founder. I was just one of the first participants.
Oh, okay.
And then I put on my Facebook about the train. We were just about 12 cars. No, I think it was 8 cars. So then the next week, we doubled. And then every car that came was from Donna. And I was like, "You're here! You're here!" It was my friends, and they were all from Donna.
Did you know that there were...
No! No.
You didn't know there were Trump supporters?
No.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then it doubled. Every week it doubled. But I don't get involved with the GOP office. I don't get involved with anything. I just do the training.
Is there a reason why you don't get involved with that?
No point in it.
Yeah. Is there a particular, like...
Politics is dirty, and I don't want to get involved.
Okay. I respect that. Let's see. So, before we finish, I'd like to make sure that we covered our experiences that have been important influences in your life, especially when it comes to your decision to vote for President Trump and his policies. Is there any experience or person you haven't already mentioned that has had an important influence on your past decisions, current beliefs, or plans for the future?
I just go with my gut.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings us to
All
an
right.
end. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hope I didn't say anything